Fans of Chrisley Knows Best are anxiously awaiting the return of their favorite reality television family to USA Network. While an exact date and time haven't been officially confirmed, there is speculation that viewers can expect to see new episodes of Chrisley Knows Best and Growing Up Chrisley sometime this summer. In the meantime, fans can keep up with the happenings of Chrisley's by tuning in to their weekly podcast, Chrisley Confessions. During this time, Todd and Julie Chrisley fill everyone in on what's going on with their family. Additionally, they take time to address voicemails listeners leave for them on the podcast's voicemail. This week, Todd and Julie record the podcast from vacation. However, Julie doesn't call it a vacation. Keep reading to find out Julie's sentiments about the family vacation. Chrisley Knows Best. Todd and Julie Chrisley bring you weekly content from a recording studio. From the beginning, listeners can tell that this episode is different. It almost sounds like they're calling in. However, once Todd divulges that they're on a tropical vacation, it makes sense. Next, Julie Chrisley drops a bombshell. She says she doesn't call it a vacation, but rather a relocation. Instantly, Todd feels like Julie is throwing shade about the situation. In true Todd fashion, he calls her out on it. "You're saying because we're on vacation. It's not a vacation to you cause you're still having to prepare meals, still having to bathe Chloe, still having to make sure Grayson has what he needs, while I sit around and have no one doing anything for me." Without hesitation, Julie agrees. That Todd seeks confirmation that that's what Julie is saying, so Julie shares things from her perspective. Julie explains that they got to their vacation and she still had to go to Publix and Fresh Market. Also, she had to think about what to do for dinner. All of that while everyone was at the beach. However, Julie affirms that it is totally fine and that she doesn't have any resentment. However, Todd still senses resentment. Ultimately, Julie feels like what she's going through is relatable to anyone that is the caregiver in their family. "We're grateful to be able to go anywhere, do anything out of the norm, but it's not always a relaxing time when you're still having to do all those things." Todd's solution is that Julie doesn't go with the rest of the family. Rightfully so, she doesn't like that idea either. However, it isn't what it seems. It boils down to if Julie doesn't go, no one goes. What do you think about Julie calling a vacation a relocation? Do you relate to what she's saying? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to come back to TV shows Ace for more Chrisley Knows Best news. Also, keep checking your USA Network listings to see when Chrisley Knows Best and Growing Up Chrisley returns for their new seasons. The world of the Chrisley family has rarely existed in stillness. Even before legal troubles reshaped their lives, chaos and reinvention felt like familiar companions. But in the months following Todd and Julie's incarceration, the emotional landscape surrounding their marriage, their children, and their sense of identity has become even more complex. And now, with a recent wave of speculation among fans and insiders, attention has turned toward a new tension surfacing between Todd and Julie. One rooted in a relocation that neither of them seems fully at peace with. Relocation has always been part of the Chrisley brand. Whether moving for business opportunities, shifting to accommodate production needs, or seeking a fresh start. But this time the move isn't glamorous. It isn't framed with curated interiors or picture-perfect family moments. Instead, it's wrapped in emotional weight, the sting of separation, and a pressure neither Todd nor Julie ever imagined facing. As Todd senses a change in the emotional temperature, whispers grow louder. Julie might be harboring resentment about how things unfolded and where their path has now led. A marriage tested by distance while incarceration has placed Todd and Julie in different facilities. The emotional distance has become just as palpable. Time apart has forced both to reckon with the choices that brought them here. Todd has leaned heavily into introspection, rebuilding a sense of structure and control in an environment where he possesses almost none. Julie, meanwhile, has tried to maintain dignity and grace through circumstances that have weighed heavily on her spirit. Family sources and observers close to the Chrisleys often note that the couple has always approached life as a unified front. But their current separation has magnified cracks that were once easily concealed beneath humor, confidence, and charm. Todd can sense the shift in Julie's energy, especially regarding the relocation that placed them hours apart. For Julie, move represented more than logistics. It represented another layer of upheaval that stripped her of autonomy and the sense of home she fought hard to protect. A relocation that changed everything when Julie was unexpectedly transferred to a different facility earlier this year. The family struggled to adjust. The move added travel challenges, drastically reduced visiting flexibility, and separated her from routines she had finally started to settle into. For someone as family-centered as Julie, the adjustment felt like an emotional blow. She had hoped for stability, something she could hold onto as the rest of life remained unpredictable. Todd, positioned in a different institution in a separate state, felt powerless. Control had always been the cornerstone of his identity. Managing his businesses, guiding his children, shaping the world around him. But now he could only watch the emotional consequences unfold from afar. And in that distance, he sensed something deeper, a quiet resentment from his wife that she didn't want to express directly. Not directed at him as a person, but at the circumstances, the loss of choice, the cascade of consequences tied to the legal saga that enveloped them both. Julie's internal struggle. Julie's journey behind walls has been shaped by resilience, but that resilience has come at a cost. She has always been the emotional backbone of the family. Even in the public eye, Julie represented warmth, reason, and grounded stability. She made chaos digestible. She brought balance to Todd's larger-than-life energy. But relocation uprooted the last piece of stability she had left. It meant rebuilding relationships with new staff, learning new rules, navigating unfamiliar tensions, and starting again in an environment where starting over is never easy. It meant another loss of normalcy when normalcy had already been stripped away. Sources close to the family say Julie wrestles with guilt. Guilt over being unable to support her children the way she used to. Guilt over being absent from her aging mother. And guilt over how the family must rearrange their lives around both her and Todd's situations. Resentment, some believe, has formed not because of her husband's actions alone, but because of everything the family dynamic has cost her: security, freedom, and the comfort of choosing her own path. Todd's growing awareness. Todd has always prided himself on being perceptive, especially when it comes to his family's emotional needs. Even now, he pays careful attention. Through letters, scheduled phone communications, and the few updates relayed between children, he reads between the lines. He senses the heaviness in Julie's responses, the fatigue lying beneath her determination, and the frustration she doesn't voice. For Todd, this realization has stirred a storm of its own. He has spent months trying to maintain optimism, offering encouragement, and reminding himself that one day they will rebuild. But a growing unease has settled in as he considers whether Julie's emotional wounds run deeper than he understood. Relocation didn't just move her physically. It shifted her emotional world in ways that Todd cannot fully repair from where he stands. Children caught in the middle. Savannah, who has become the family's public anchor and caretaker, is keenly aware of both parents' burdens. She has visited each facility, managed communications, juggled the complexities of public perception, and assumed the parental role for her younger brother. Her voice offers comfort to both parents, yet even she cannot bridge the emotional gap that relocation has created. Chase sees it too. While he remains protective over both parents, he recognizes the emotional toll on his mother more sharply than most. He knows how much she values routine, family closeness, and emotional harmony. Disruption hits her harder than she lets on. Grayson and Chloe feel the distance as well, sensing the heaviness even when they don't fully understand it. Conversations with their mother feel slightly more cautious now, and while she reassures them with kindness and strength, They notice the longing beneath her calm words. The children have become silent messengers in this emotional exchange, each unintentionally revealing the state of the other parent simply through their observations. It's important to understand that the tension between Todd and Julie doesn't signify a fractured marriage. Instead, it reflects the profound emotional strain that comes with losing control of one's life. Their bond remains strong, but being apart magnifies small resentments the way a spotlight exposes texture on a stage.